Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we are back with another speed build. And today I decided to do something different, and I decided to do a little like New England, coastal New England style house that would fit into Brindleton Bay, since that's kind of the vibe there. And I've never actually built anything, I don't think, in Brindleton Bay. Especially, I don't think I've ever done like a coastal build, so I decided to challenge myself. I just looked up some pictures and saw that they had like this little weird curved like roofing in a lot of the houses, and I also noticed that that's how a lot of the houses in Brindleton Bay were made. And so I edited a lot of me doing the roof out because I kind of just figured it out on my own through trial and error, but I did figure it out. But I didn't intend for this to be like a big house, but I did want it to be a very like family oriented house with obviously pets, since it is in the cats and dogs neighborhood, Brindleton Bay. So I did have to make it a little bit bigger because I just couldn't figure out how to fit all of the rooms that I wanted to end up fitting in the house. And it was a little bit of a struggle just to figure out the layout because obviously I didn't intend to have a second floor, but because of how I had to do the roofing, I pretty much had to have a second floor. So I had to figure out where to put the stairs because I kind of already had a floor plan in my head, but that had to like get rearranged so I could have the second floor be usable because it was a lot of space. As you can see, I was able to put a bathroom and 2 bedrooms in that whole space in the upper floor there. So how to figure that one out. And I wanted to try and use as much of cats and dogs as possible, but I kind of wanted it to, at least initially, I was kind of thinking of doing like a pastel kind of vibe house, and none of the swatches of the cats and dogs siding really had that like pastel kind of color. And this swatch that I used here, it's not like super pastel either, but it wasn't as like dark and rich as the siding colors in the cats and dogs. I also edited out a lot of me making the decision on what windows to use because I really struggled with that because I could not find anything that would really fit the front with all of the bump outs really well. But I ended up settling on using Seasons windows, and that worked, but it took me a long time to get to that. And I just kind of, since I in my head at least initially wanted the house to be very pastel-esque, I kind of just put pastel colors in all of the rooms, but like with the idea of I would eventually change it. But that's initially what I was trying to go for, so I just kind of put different colors in all of the rooms. Some of the colors I kept, but a lot of them I did change. And I really struggled with trying to figure out what kind of couch to put in the room because I wanted it to still have that pastel color, but then I didn't want to overuse certain colors and everything. But then I saw the book nook couch and I just kind of had to use it because it just looked so comfy and cozy. So that was pretty much my only reason for using that. And then here, with this little bump out here, I kind of had the idea of using it as like a little nook kind of area, and I wanted to kind of put some sort of seating there. None of the little like couches that kind of have that shape really fit in the area, so I tried to see if I could like make my own, but it just wasn't really working out, and so I kind of nixed that idea. And then I just decided to put some chairs in that area, and I was gonna put like a smaller couch on the other side to kind of close in the living room area, but it just wasn't looking that great, so I just kind of nixed that idea again. And so then the chairs that I had there, they were just kind of like placement chairs, because I just wanted to make sure that the layout looked good. But once I started putting in like the blue colors there, I figured obviously I should change the walls because the walls were blue. And then I also found that it was just too light, so I went and changed the floors to a darker wood floor. And then here I kind of figured yellow would be a good complementary color to the blue, so that's why I went for like a little yellow dining room set. And I was going to go for a different color in the kitchen. I really liked the purple that comes in the country, I don't know what it is, the country little kit thing with the kitchen stuff. I really loved the purple, but I just thought that it was going to be too many colors, so I just ended up going for blue in the kitchen. But I did change out the appliances so it was yellow, so then it kind of hopefully kind of makes everything blend in well together. So with the blue living room and the yellow dining room. And honestly, I'm still not sure if it actually all comes together well, because yeah, I am someone who uses color as an accent, so I like to just do neutral colors and then just throw pops of color, but I think it was okay. One problem that I had was figuring out what rug to put in the living room, because I just could not find anything that looked good with the blue living room, but then also didn't completely clash with like the yellow and everything. And it was so hard for me to kind of figure that out. I just went through like, I feel like every single rug that had any sort of like colors that made sense. But I ended up just putting that rug there for the time being, because I kind of just gave up and I was like, I need to take a break from looking at rugs. So then I went into this room and I decided to make this room into an office space. So they just had like some space to, you know, have a computer in and whatnot, because, you know, computers are very important into the sim when it comes to Sims. I feel like you just kind of have to have a computer, because it just, with all of the things, it's all related to the computer a lot of times, and like there's some things that you can't do without that, so gotta have that computer. And obviously, since it's an office, I decided to put in a bookshelf and everything. And I also decided I wanted, because there was still a lot of room in the office and I wanted to fill it up as much as possible, so I decided that like to put one of those little kid arts and craft tables in there, so then like your kid could like be working with whoever else, the parent or whatnot. And then again, my struggle with rugs in this whole entire build was just a lot, because I don't normally use like the colorful rugs, or if I do use the colorful rugs, the rest of the room is kind of neutral, but I just couldn't figure out what would really pair well with like the purple chair. And then obviously the walls are kind of like a blue tealy kind of color or whatever, so just ended up going with that pink rug. And then I decided to go to the bathroom, because I figured the bathroom would give me a break from having to deal with all of the nonsense that I had to deal with the living room and the office, with matching the colors and everything. So I just decided to keep the yellow walls in the bathroom, and I just used the newer for rent pack tiles, because I think they look really, really nice. I think a lot of the new packs have really, really nice floor tiling. I just really love them. So I went with that, and I was just trying to make it like a kind of fun, like kid-friendly bathroom too, since there are definitely going to be a lot of kids in this house, because there are plenty of rooms for them. And so I just try to make it, you know, simple, but like, you know, good for kids. And then I also remembered that I wanted to make sure that this house had pets. So I figured this house would definitely have at least one cat and one dog. So I added the little cat litter box, and then I just put 2 pet bowls down, one for the dog, one for the cat. And then I went into this room, and this room I figured would be the master bedroom, because it's kind of like the biggest room. So I did that. I did make it a little bit smaller just for, you know, the house structure, so it looked better. But I decided to I didn't go into it initially thinking this, but I ended up going and doing a lot of like yellow and green in this room. And I actually think it kind of turned out really well. I did mix up a lot of different packs. I was initially trying to mainly use cats and dogs and like seasons and like just like very suburban packs, and like packs that kind of would go with the coastal vibe. But because I kind of still had the whole pastel thing in the back of my head, I ended up using a lot of packs. I honestly don't know how many packs I used, but I probably used a good bit, if not like almost all of the packs that I had. So that's unfortunate. But for this room, I figured it would be like a really cute room to add like a lot of pink to. So I went with the little, I think that's from high school years, that little bed. And I again struggled with the rug because I didn't know if that was too much pink or not, but I ended up just sticking with it because nothing else really felt like it fit the room very well. And I did say that I wanted it to be kind of a very pink room. So I just ended up sticking with the rainbow swatch of that rug, even though I go through a lot more rugs until I finally just cave and decide to go with that rug. And then I kind of go back into the living room a little bit by just adding in a little like entry table kind of vibe, and I added in the coffee table. And then I just wanted to make sure that like I had kind of filled up the space of like the entry area well. So I was kind of trying to add in little things here and there to make sure that that felt filled. So I added a little like rug and stuff in front of that. And then obviously, as you can see, I kind of go back to this lovely living room, and then I just gave up again. And then this room, the walls are pink, and so I kind of started going into the pink mode again. But I later realized like I probably shouldn't do two very pink rooms, so I do change that completely later. And I really like the purple in this room. And then I added in these two bunk beds because I figured the room was like a little bit bigger so two kids could fit in it. And so then I decided to go back to this room, and since I had two very like pink and purple rooms, I wanted to make sure I had like a more like a darker color room. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I guess like more like a room that like more likely a boy would kind of fit into. So I ended up just changing the swatch to the green swatch of because I wanted one of the kids to be like really into horses, because to add in as many animal elements as possible. So that's kind of the vibe that I went with this room. And again, the theme of this build was just struggling with the rugs. But for this room, I always find it so hard to kind of find like matching bunk beds that like have the same color frame, or at least like ones that I like. I guess maybe I'm just too picky. That might be the problem. But this room was the easiest room to match a rug to, because I figured like the polka dot one would work best since like they have different colored like areas, like the purple and then the yellow, so you can incorporate both fairly easily. But I figured this would most likely be like teenagers probably sharing a room, so I tried to make the room like a little bit more mature, even though there is a polka dot rug. But you know, polka dot rugs can be for older people too. You know, you could be an adult with a polka dot rug. For this bathroom, I initially was going to just do like a shower, but because of the two windows and where they were placed, I couldn't really figure out a good place to put the shower, so I ended up deciding to just make this room, or this bathroom, kind of like a bathroom that probably needs to be, you know, a little updated a little bit. So I kind of went for like stuff that looks a little bit older, and then I just did a bathtub. Not the most convenient situation. If you know Sims, it takes them 10 years to take a bath, but I just figured, you know, with the circumstances, just to make a little story out of it. So it's a bathroom that probably needs to be, you know, updated a little bit. But, you know, it works. They have, if they really need to take a shower, they could go downstairs and take a shower. And then for the hallway, it was so big. The hallway was really big because there was just like so much space on this second level. So I just decided to add like another little table and then throw in a rug to kind of just fill in the space a little bit. And so at this point in the build, I kind of have all of the main bits and pieces. So I'm kind of just trying to go in and adding, because one thing that I forget a lot is sometimes to change the lighting. I always, a lot of times, end up leaving the little disc lights in there, but I've been trying to remember to change that. So I've went and changed a lot of the lighting, and then I'm trying to just add in like more like decorative pieces to kind of bring everything together and fill up the space a little bit more. And so I kind of, like I said, I wanted to use mainly like the packs that were either like very coastal vibes or kind of fit the, you know, animal theme. So I filtered out a lot of the seasons and the cats and dogs pack to kind of just add in more like animal elements. And since I figured they're going to have a lot of animals and they're a family that's into animals, I wanted to add a lot of decorations that were associated with the animals. And then I remembered too that I could add the hamster little thingy from, what is it called? My First Pet Stuff. I got it when it was free because I just did not see the point of buying that. So I honestly forget all of the time that I even have that thing, because I'm so used to like building without it, but I remembered, and so I did go ahead and add that. And then I'm just making some changes and like anything that I feel like I need to add or change. So I changed the stairs so it matches the flooring a little bit better, and then added railing. And then again, like I said, I'm just going through and changing up and adding in like little decoration bits and pieces. I finally obviously figured out a rug situation here. I almost forgot to put a sink in the kitchen, but luckily I did remember to do that. I also almost forgot to add any sort of like TV or anything. And I mean, like, it didn't need it to have a TV because, you know, they could be a family that just doesn't watch that much TV. So I could have put a painting there, but I just feel like even like it's just natural for me to always put TVs in my Sims houses as long as I can fit a TV in there, or as long as like the budget allows for a TV to be in there. I feel like it's just very natural for me to add that. It was really hard for me to like make sure that I kind of filled up the wall space because I wanted to use just like certain packs and make sure that I had like a certain vibe to it. So I struggled with that a little bit. And then that little like basket thing that I put in the kitchen, I meant to put back outside when I did the patio situation because I figured that would be like some like stuff that you would put on like for like barbecue and kind of and that kind of vibe. But I forgot to do it, so it stays on the kitchen counter and just takes up space there. But I am kind of proud of myself because I feel like I used a lot of like decor bits and pieces that I normally wouldn't use and like really don't use because I honestly don't really use cats and dogs especially all that much when it comes to decorations and whatnot, but I did do a pretty good job. And then I kind of just tried to filter out through like other packs to see if they had anything else that like kind of would fit the vibe. Because like they don't really have, I tried to look at the styled filters, but they don't really have any that's like specific to like coastal vibes or anything like that. So I didn't really see that to be any helpful. Or helpful at all. So I kind of just went with going through the packs that I felt like kind of would match that. And then as far as the curtains, I really could not figure out any curtains that I really liked that fit the like look and then also the size of the windows. And I meant to go back and try again and see if I could find anything else, but I did forget about that. So there are no curtains in the house. Because I think that I was going to use kind of the like Desert Luxe kit, right? I think that's the one. I because it does have like the little like rod kind of thing, but I forgot. So that didn't end up happening. But I am just trying to, you know, clutter everything up and make sure everything looks like it's nice and lived in and, you know, fitting of a family. And so I also obviously need to go back to the main thing, the animals, since I just add some pet beds into some of the kids' rooms for them to have that and everything. And I honestly kind of don't remember what else I did, even though I literally just did this build. Oh yeah, I figured that like I just didn't like that there was so much open space in the kitchen area, so I tried to find a cabinet situation that like kind of went well with the what's it called? The cottage, or I don't know, country something of another kit. I do not remember the names of any of the kits. I barely remember the names of the packs. But I found that the For Rent ones kind of matched like the countertops of the country kit. So I just went with those because I really couldn't find anything that I felt like matched. And I just didn't like the cabinets that came with the country kit situation. But I feel like I hit like almost every single animal except for horses and like your like kind of like cottage living animals, because I figured that they wouldn't go that far. They wouldn't have like farm animals, but like any like pet kind of vibes I think I hit. You know, they have stuff for cats and dogs, fish, they have a hamster, all of the things, you know, checking off all of the boxes. And of course, on to my favorite thing to do when it comes to building, the landscaping. I tried to kind of just mimic what I was seeing in the rest of the neighborhood. But what I discovered, I always typically first filter it out through the pack that I'm, or like the pack that it's associated with. So this one is obviously cats and dogs. So I was filtering it through the cats and dogs filter. But I realized that a lot of the plants that they have in the surrounding area, at least, were a lot of base game plants. So I ended up having to just go back to base game. And then I like to, at this point, I kind of like to just go ahead and do my landscaping before I do any sort of foundation, because I find, at least for me, I have to lower the foundation in order to put any sort of like plants or anything around the house, or it's just gonna like glitch out. So I like to try and do all of my landscaping before then, but I decided that like it just wasn't enough landscaping that I did in the front, so I do eventually go back to add that in, much to my frustration. And I think I actually had to go back like at least 2 or 3 times, but I edited it out a good bit of that. But here is another time that I have to go back and lower the foundation, because I realized that I just didn't like the plants and I didn't like how it looked. It looked really bad to me, so I had to go back and fix that. So it looked better. But I kind of liked what I did with having the like front deck situation have lattice instead of like the brick like I have for the rest of the house. And here I really wanted to do kind of like a platform step situation down into like a patio area for the back. But I forgot that platforms suck and they're terrible to work with the majority of the time. And so I just ended up having to settle with just having stairs there and kind of just doing it that way and having a patio just coming off the stairs instead of having like some nice platforms, because I'm pretty sure you have to put down your platforms before you do the rest of the build, unfortunately, and then just like build the platforms off of the like and build your like shell from the platforms, which is really annoying. I feel like it shouldn't be that difficult to add platforms later, but you know, The Sims is The Sims, and it has some like funky little rules that it has to abide by. And then I'm kind of just finishing up the backyard here by adding a few things for the kids to play in. I added in a swing set, and then I figured it would be pretty nice to have for them to have like a tree house, because they have a lot of kids anyway, so there's at least rooms for a lot of kids. And I did want to try and add in the obstacle course things for the dog, but there just wasn't enough room. It's not that big of a lot, and I already have the whole tree house and a swing set, so it just did not fit. So I kind of have to give up on that idea. And then I do change this because I just wasn't loving the swatch of it with the rest of the backyard. And honestly, the lighting in Brindleton Bay sucks when it comes to building. Like, I found it, so I had to switch from all of the different times of day throughout this build when I was doing anything outside, because it was just so bad with the lighting. But I'm just adding a few more bits and pieces to kind of bring everything together for the rest of the build. And so I will go ahead and close this video out, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.